This is a Club 11 production.
I was on the bus back to Boston and I was like, man, like I'm actually kind of sad that like I don't know when is the next time that I'm gonna see like all of them again, because we like spoke for like, I mean, you know, I got there, the pub opened up at 10 and I didn't leave until like 4 because all of us were just kind of like talking and like sharing stories and stuff like that, and you're just like, man, like I don't know. I hope I get to go back to New Haven. But it's just
Meanwhile,
like
we're nonstop calling them, going to the Orlando City Inter Miami game. Like, we need to hear what your idea is for this video, but before we start recording. And he's crying on the bus, thinking about the next time we'll make it back to New Haven.
He's like, I hope I get to make it back to New Haven. We're like, I hope we get to talk to this guy again.
Yeah, like hopefully he's alive. And he was meanwhile just scrolling through his camera roll, looking at all the pictures and videos. Like, I'm gonna miss these guys.
Well, we've been busy, haven't we?
boy, have we. Boy.
I guess this will serve as the first, because this will probably come out before Europe. This will be the first "What Are We Doing Live" edition of our new podcast. Pablo, what's going on, man? How are you?
Doing well. Tired after a long week, I think, overall.
You were a man on the move this week. You were all up in the Northeast in all the best ways, right?
Yeah, that was so. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have a nice little Sunday to relax, and then I was like, oh no, I guess there's gonna be another Premier League game for a while. So I was like, okay, let's go to New Haven, see what's going on there. So it was nice to see
You're living it up per usual.
It destroys me like on the way back, because it was the bus was so took the bus from Boston to New Haven at like 6:30 in the morning, and then I got there at like 8:30, and the game wasn't until 11:30. So I was just walking around New Haven. There was like a little snowstorm thing going on, but you know, I got to see the city for a little bit, and then went to the cannon, which is like, the story behind the cannon is insane. I don't know if I should jump into it off the bat, but it was like one of the most like wholesome and then just like random things that I feel like I got to learn this week. Although the class was also this week, so
I was going to say, maybe to explain a little bit, I guess, why we're doing this is we want to do this because we do a lot of things in the soccer world, and we feel like it's a good chance for us to at least amongst ourselves try and recap what we've done, because a lot is going on, and I think we're only going to continue to be busier and busier this year. So all of our forays into the American soccer experience, hopefully we can share here. But yeah, before we get into this week, why don't we check in with our Florida contingent? Hi, you guys are calling in from Justin Gabe from Orlando, Florida. That's correct?
Yeah, we're in what is called the Nest. It's Gabe's little quarters that he works out of. As you can see the map behind us. We have a really good set deck right now. We have a little tangerine. We're enjoying the Florida weather right now. Actually, kind of not, because I started working on the bus, and it's like already hot in the bus, so it's kind of miserable. We're back to it being miserable once again, and we're only in March 2nd. What is today's date?
Yeah, it's a second. It's one day after. We're also sad because of what happened yesterday with Inter Miami. That's very.
We were out in the field, courtesy of Continental Tires. Orlando City versus Inter Miami, and we were welcomed in by the Orlando City fans, but it was not a lovely outcome. But you know what? We'll get to that. We got to start at the beginning of this week.
We got to start almost 2 weeks ago, I feel like, at this point. But start with we in the spirit of us trying to find things and always re-educate ourselves. We thought, hey, maybe it would be fun if we could find a reason to go back to school, to really immerse ourselves into re-immerse ourselves in what it means to be a student. If we could be good students of the game, we have to just be students in general. And so, Gabe and Pablo, you guys had a very awesome, unique opportunity to share, not only learn, but share what you know about the game in a certain collegiate environment.
Yeah, that was insane. We went to UVA for a soccer politics class. But I think for context, like a couple of weeks ago, a friend that I went to college with, who was actually my roommate for a little bit, or for a couple of years actually, but I hadn't seen hadn't really seen or spoken to for like 5 or 6 years, because he went over to UK to do his master's in history at Oxford, and then he came back to UVA to do his PhD, and he just, I think he does like war history or something like that. And then, but on the side, he TAs for an undergraduate class that's just about soccer politics, and it's taught by this professor who also, I guess he's made his name in Haitian history and French history, but he's just a huge fan of soccer in general. So he just started an undergraduate class where they do readings of just like, for example, the week that we were going to go, they were reading about Maradona and then the 1978 World Cup and like all of, the politics associated with that in Argentina. And like, if you look at their syllabus, it's essentially that they just read about like soccer in Africa and Europe and like the different ways that it's kind of like mingled with politics in all these different places around the world. And then I think they also sometimes they watch movies, sometimes they watch games whenever there's like anything important going on. And then at the end of the semester, the class now is 99 students, but back when it was like a smaller class where it was like 60, 50 people, they used to just play pickup. The last week of classes, they would just go out in just the fields of UVA, not even like the soccer fields, just like out in the grass in front of like the history department, and then they would just like play soccer out there. So
imagine they had like a tournament, a little round robin tournament at the end of the year. Would be sick.
He was just saying that like it was like they wouldn't even try to really organize it. It was just like a 25 on 25 and everybody just kicking after the ball. So really, like, I guess very schoolyard type of stuff, which is really cool. But so then my friend reached out and he's like, with the World Cup coming, the class has a project that at the end of the semester they need to write something about the World Cup, go out and kind of touch a little bit on like the impact that this World Cup is going to have. It really open-ended in terms of like whatever the students want to do. But he was like, since like a lot of the focus is on the World Cup here in the US, would you guys be able to come in and talk about American soccer culture and the stuff that you guys have found around the country on your bus trip, and then also touch a little bit on how Club 11 started, since my roommate saw a lot of how things were in the very early days of Club 11 in college.
And because they've become so glamorous now.
So glamorous. But yeah, so he was like, it would be cool for them to also hear a little bit of how all of that got started, of you guys in college, and kind of give them a little bit of context about that. So we got the invite earlier in February, and then we kind of scheduled things so that we could go the Monday following the opening game of MLS. So we also went to the DC United game over the weekend, and then met up with my friend, and then we drove to UVA on Monday. So yeah, crazy weekend.
I guess, what was it like for because we kind of did, so maybe the back part of last year is we were putting together different pieces, different content things we were doing from the bus trip, where it was like, can we dig up old Club 11 imagery from yesteryear and bring that in. So we kind of were doing that already, but for you guys, you two twins, like, I don't know, what was it like for you to sort of at this point reflect on Club 11? Like, we had to go back and find some old stuff, and we kind of describe ourselves differently, almost month by month, but trying to put together some sort of almost academic syllabus of like, this is who we are, and this is what we've learned and what we've seen, and like, I guess, what was that reflection process for you guys like?
Yeah, it was nice. I think even after the lecture, we were going back to just like reminisce a little bit. I think I was scrolling like all the way down to just when we were sharing like Peruvian stuff from like, I think it was September 2018 or like August, and we put out this like statement. I think it was like end of August of 2018 where it just basically said like we've been given, you know, the opportunity to cover MLS games. So like we're not going to be talking that much about the Peruvian national team anymore.
Way.
And at the end of the caption, there's this thing that says, but don't worry, like the Peruvian national team will always be our priority. And, you know, it's written in Spanish and everything, and it's just crazy. Like looking back, obviously we shifted, and like I think one thing that we told the class was that we did kind of just the deeper that we went down this rabbit hole of American soccer, just the more we immersed ourselves into this, I guess, soccer culture. And it was nice to, you know, talking to them like in the class. I think you just remember a lot of things that I don't think you can prepare for unless you're getting, you know, questions from people. So even just like some students asking like how were you different in the beginning, or, you know, how did that come about? And I think we just kind of thought to ourselves like, and we told them like at the time it wasn't something that we thought about, you know, it wasn't like that you're trying to go against like a, you know, like an NBC or like a bigger thing. It's like we're just, you know, we were trying to cover Peruvian players, and then it kind of snowballed into like American soccer, and then it led to like buying a soccer bus. So it's kind of just like the
obvious progression.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, to answer your question, I mean, it was definitely nice to, I guess, reminisce a little bit and go back to where it started. And also, I think there was a student that Pablo mentioned, that Donovan Pines, he was one of the first people that we interviewed, and there was a DC United fan in the class that he was the first question, you know, the first hand to go up, and first thing he said was just that it was nice to have fellow DC United fans in the class, and he mentioned like I think he like either knew Donovan Pines or just I forget exactly what it was, but it was cool that it did feel like a full circle moment. And Pablo and I think just having gone to UMD, like we heard a lot of UVA, and I think it's obviously like rival schools, but it still did feel like, I mean, it all feels kind of the same, I think, in the DMV. Like it kind of felt like home, so it was cool.
Yeah, I think it was in terms of like how everything was set up, like it was so surreal. Like it's like seeing all the students, like the class is changing or whatever, and then we have to walk into this little like classroom. I mean, it was like one of those that has like, I think they had like 9 different tables with like 10 people in each one of them. So it wasn't like we were on like a raised like stage or anything like that. It was just, we were just sitting down. And then the professor and then my friend, the TA, they were just asking us questions. And then it was cool because they also showed like some of our work. They showed the video, the intro video for the Soccer Odyssey, Justin's masterpiece. And then they also showed like the stuff from Vermont. So it was like the tifo of the Bernie Bayou. And then yeah, somebody asked, he's like, wait, is that a tifo in like a lower league division here in the US? And it was like, oh boy, like it actually is. And then that kind of like led us kind of to speak about all those things that we've kind of discovered around the country. So it was nice like doing that. And then when it came to questions, like I was so scared because it was like, you know, it's like sometimes you think like, wait, are people like, are they enjoying what we're saying? Like, are they connecting in some sort of way? But also like it's a class of like soccer fans, right? So it's like they were all going to be interested in one way or another. But we had spoken for so long and just kept getting questions from the TA and the professor, and we were all just kind of like in our own little thing. Yeah, and then like you look up and it's like, wait, does anybody care? And then like they opened it up for questions, and like all these hands went up, and I was like, wait, like people actually they were listening, like they care, they want to be part of the conversation. And then we didn't have enough time to go through all the questions, so it was at that level in terms of like how many people I guess like connected with the American soccer stories that we were able to share a little bit. And then we did like a quiz at the end because we Gabe brought a few jerseys for the class. I think it was like 4 or 5. So we did like a trivia thing for each one of the tables. So it was like they were just a team. So we would ask a question about like, all right, what was the best like finish that the U.S. has had at a World Cup? And then it was like, you know, people said like, wait, 1950, and it was like, no. And then and then yeah, then
no. You weren't like, how many newsletters consecutively have I written actually?
But yeah, so it was like nice. And then one of the questions was like, name three like soccer teams like in Virginia. Nice. And there was somebody said like, yeah, the Charlottesville Blues, and then Charlottesville Blues, Loudoun United, and then
Richmond Kickers.
All know her.
So it was cool to see that that people did have like connections, so like knew about those things. I think there was somebody that was like, oh yeah. One of the questions was about AC Boise, and one of the people there was like, "Oh yeah, my friend actually like tried out for that team, so I should have known the answer to this one." So it was cool to like be able to share that, and you know they were also asking us like, "Yeah, you know, like what were your favorite stops and all of that." So it was nice that we did the podcast to kind of recap all of that earlier in the year, so that then I think our minds were refreshed on all the stuff that we'd kind of gone through. So it was cool to just like go through all those stories and kind of like share that with the class. I remember before we went in, Gabe was like, yeah, like I'm a little bit nervous. Like I'm not sure how this is going to go. And then he killed. He killed.
Oh, he was playing it coy this whole time. And he was the one that killed.
I mean, it's on tape. You'll see some of his answers. It's just, yeah, it was.
No, it was, I mean, I remember I was telling Andrea like beforehand, like 10 minutes before, I'm like, I hate like public speaking because it's just if I had to go back to college, is the one thing I wouldn't go back to college for because like I just dread it. But then like as soon as it started, it just kind of I think the professor played your videos. It's just kind of like playing in the back, and you just kind of realize like, I mean, we were just talking about it was something that I feel like we knew how to talk about. So once you started, like I mean, I felt it was very easy, but yeah, overall, like it did feel like I'm glad it wasn't like we were presenting a lecture. It was more of Evan, so Pablo's roommate, was asking us kind of just like it's kind of like conversational, you know, this and that, and yeah, like for me, my favorite part, where Pablo, I think this is where it shifted a little bit because if you watch the video back and like I think I put it on frame, so I can like I'll send it to you guys. But like basically, like in any other class where you have laptops, on the video that we have from the back of the class, like you can see there's people watching like Champions League. I think Man United was playing during the class. So I'm like, rightfully so, right? Like, you know, we all did that. But then he has this story that he told, I think midway through the conversation, where they asked a question about the World Cup, and it was, you know, about how are you going to experience the World Cup, and what do you think about the whole situation right now where people aren't going to be able to go to the games. And Pablo brought this, he brought it back to 2022 when him and Kiros watched a Uruguay game against Ghana in the Uruguay embassy with the ex Uruguay president, the ambassador, and it was all because they had gotten in an Uber with the driver for the ambassador, like without knowing, you know. Obviously, I think he told the story in like a very detailed way, and you can see, or at least like from what I remember, because I was just kind of at that point I was kind of one of the people in the audience just listening to the story, and you start seeing like the heads kind of going up, like what is this guy talking? Like there's no way this actually happened. And yeah, that was really nice. You know, that was one of the stories that, like I was saying earlier, you wouldn't really, you're not just sitting down and like thinking about that when you're trying to think back at things. It's just you kind of need somebody to prompt you with a question, and it'll just like pop up. So even with the stuff about the Open Cup last year, one thing I found kind of challenging was trying to, like if you think about it now, it's kind of hard remembering very specific moments in the Open Cup because there were so many. So I'm glad, like you mentioned earlier, this was definitely a nice way to remember. But I'm glad we're doing this now because like if we do forget, at least we have, you know, this recollection. But we're only getting older, so it's only gonna get harder to go back to that, you know.
Amen to that.
It's not an if we forget, it's a when we forget. And just like I guess before we move on, like, was there anything that like really, I guess, surprised you about either the experience, or did anybody come out of like left field with a question where it was like, wait, how do you know that? Was there any part of that during the presentation that like kind of caught you guys like, wait, what? Like caught you off guard at all?
I mean, I think no. There was one the question about if we had covered the Charlottesville Blues. I think, you know, if we had done work with them, that one was the only one where we kind of looked at each other and was like, we don't have an answer because we haven't covered them, you know, at that scale. So we were a little embarrassed, you know, to get that question like on home turf, and you're like, yeah, I mean, I've only heard about this team a couple times and I don't know much. Like, I wish we would have known more. But then the question that I think was the most, it wasn't necessarily a question that was repeated, but I feel like the theme was one that kept coming back, was the comparison to Europe and like the comparison to just other leagues in general. And, you know, what is it going to take for U.S. soccer to get to the point, you know, that Europe has gotten to, for example. And I think it was nice to be able to have that discussion and to talk with people, and just trying to talk through like the why behind that. I think we kind of landed on, like, I don't want to go on like a tangent, but a lot of it,
Please do.
like a big part of the answer was just like time and like generational change. Like, there are things that we are doing right now where I think Pablo was explaining that we do have this ability to be able to create from the ground up here, right? Where if you look, you know, into the future, all the stuff that happened in England and in Germany and, you know, all over Europe when the clubs were getting created, a lot of them are similar to the things that are happening now in the U.S. with, you know, clubs popping up in different parts of the country, in the sense of we are kind of dictating the identity of these clubs. You know, what does it mean to stand for a specific club? And yeah, I think it's always a hard question to get, because I think just depending on how you feel that day, you'll either go like more passionate and be like, you know, this and that, or sometimes you can kind of step back with a more clear mind. And I think we had a mix of both in that class. It was like, it was very nice to see that people are thinking about that. And anytime you can even get like a question and an opportunity to talk about that, I think is one that is always welcome from us, because at the end of the day, a lot of what that conversation had to do in the Q&A portion, I would say, Pablo, was those questions like kept coming back.
Yeah.
And like for me, I feel like we could all talk for hours about why it is that U.S. soccer is where it is and where we think it's going to go in the future, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a cool, like an interesting format to like talk about it at, because you're probably talking to a class that's mainly focused on the history outside of the U.S. And so maybe, I mean, not to make a judgment on them, but they're more focused on Europe, South America, like in terms of like what they're watching, and like to give them the context, because I feel like people look down on American soccer without like thinking too critically about it, of like, yeah, it's not like an apples to apples thing. It's like you're supporting American soccer for completely different reasons than you are supporting like your European teams and stuff like that.
Exactly. And I think that was understood, Pablo, like in the class, because the class definitely has a focus on like global soccer as a whole. Like we kind of came in to talk specifically about American soccer. But I think one of my biggest takeaways was just, the amount of knowledge that they had about soccer in general. And just that respect also for U.S. soccer, because like a lot of the questions that we got were about particularly to like Virginia, for example. And yeah, like you said, I mean, it's like it was the perfect setting to talk about that, because it's with a college class that is into soccer. And yeah, I feel like we could have a whole episode just talking about this.
I mean, I think it was cool to just like, cause I think like in terms of the syllabus, you would see that they had readings about soccer in Africa, soccer in South America, soccer in Europe, but there wasn't really a focus on American soccer in particular for that class. So yeah, when it came to the comparisons between Europe and the U.S., like going into the class, I had already thought in my mind of like, okay, how every story that we tell or like everything that we say, how do we tie it back into the message of like American soccer, pride, and like the fact that we are all part of a generation that that is hopefully going to make a change for the sport here in the US. So it was more of like, how do we convey that like pride in what's going on here locally? How do you convey like, yeah, of course, you know, it's like Europe is its own thing, Africa is its own thing, South America it's its own thing, but that we all have the opportunity to build America from the ground up, essentially. So it was just like, okay, how do we tie all the anecdotes, how do we tie all the answers like back to that, so that it's like, you know, everybody kind of feels like, yeah, like, you know, you can go out and like go to your local team and like make a difference in that way. So
what do you think? Would you guys do it again? Do a little tour next semester? Go around to all these college classes? That'd be,
dude. It was awesome. Like it was so much fun. Were so I think also we have to thank Professor Laurent. I don't know how to.
Yeah, Laurent Dubois.
Ooh.
Because he, like, I think for starters, the class he put together
is amazing.
Like, it was really cool to see the syllabus, and like we also had to do the readings ahead of the class to like be prepared. And the day that we went was actually about Maradona, like the readings. So we, you know, it's these 2 articles about him, and he mentioned that there are other classes like this around the country, not specifically, you know, about soccer politics, but I think through the years and like the work that he's done, he knows professors that are teaching about soccer basically. And I think in our heads, like when we heard that, it was like, wow, I mean, it would be awesome to do this at least like once a year, man, because it did feel like in that class, you know, kind of like soccer itself, you are kind of in a room with all the I forget who said this to us recently, but it was like soccer does kind of feel like this. Maybe it was Pablo Moore in the write-up, but it does still feel kind of like this counterculture thing.
Yeah.
Where it's not so much, you know, like it might never be like American football or like basketball, and that's fine, right? Because I think we still have this sense of community that is only unique to this type of feeling. But that was exactly what we experienced in UVA, and like we only wonder, you know, is that how all the other classes are around the country? You know,
he only wondered where should we go next.
I mean, even like, what if it's like even outside of the classes of like, you know, we go and do something and just like invite people to come out like as a little like panel seminar thing, drive the bus around one night, we do a little panel, go to a college game after.
And I think like even that would be sick actually. I mean, if we did that, and
we do the next fall is the college tour.
The college tour, yeah.
The college game day will have nothing on us.
Club 11 goes back to class.
Dude, it was awesome. But yeah, like just thank you to Evan and Laurent, because when we first got that email, I mean, I kind of knew it could happen, but it's one of these things that are so like outfield that you're kind of like, I don't want to get excited about this because I don't know if this will actually come to fruition. And then when it comes to fruition, you're just like, wow, this is awesome. I mean, we got there a day early. We had dinner with I think it was 6 other post-grad students that, you know, work with Evan, and a lot of them, you know, were into soccer. A lot of them are kind of like in entrepreneurship, but in their own thing. Like 2 of them were into running, I think it was, and just being able to hear from other people in that space. Yeah, it was nice going back to school for a couple of days.
As long as there's no homework, right? Then that's nice going back to school. And like to round off your, of course, your collegiate experience too. No good college student can partake in any activities on an empty stomach, or maybe they need to refresh their palate. And so the weekend also saw you guys bring back a fan favorite series that we've been doing, didn't we, Pablo?
Oh, the P.O. Bar series.
Oh, that.
He was wondering, he's like, what are you talking about?
Like, where are we going with this bridge?
The good old P.O. Bar series. What, from in DC? The stops in DC.
Oh, yeah. And like at least the one that, I mean, we have put out so far. It was a very requested Ireland Four Courts.
Ireland Four Courts. Yeah, that was a fun one. We went on Saturday, so it was the I think the DC United game was on Saturday night. So in the morning we were like, yeah, let's just go to I think it was in Arlington. Yeah, it's in Arlington.
Yeah.
So we were just like, yeah, let's go check this one out, because we had gotten a lot of requests to go to that one specifically because it's the home of the Arlington Gooners, Arlington Spurs, and the Beltway Blues. So it's just a lot of different supporter groups that congregate there in that particular space. And the cool story about it is that, or I guess interesting story about it, is just that I think they've been open. They were open for over a decade, and then in 2022 there was a car crash. There was a car that somebody told us that I think somebody had a medical emergency while they were driving, and unfortunately like crashed through the front of the building, and then the building caught fire.
That's why he took it from cool story to interesting.
Yeah, it was not. Yeah, thanks, it was Pablo. not. It was just a unexpected story because I didn't know the background of the pub, and it's just you're talking to multiple people and they just tell you like, yeah, I mean the whole like place burned down. The owner was showing us pictures of what it used to look like and then what it looked like, after the crash. And the supporters groups were saying like, yeah, we had to move bars for a little bit, and then we all ended up coming back to this place once it was renovated. And it was really nice because they have like a full, like the main part is just like completely almost like open, and it's just everybody just congregates there. And then they have like a few like back rooms that have like, it almost feels like being in a library, which was like, because they have like books on the shelves and all of that. And it's like people just watching soccer in all these different rooms, and it's just absolutely packed. I think for the Chelsea game, since it wasn't a huge game, they still had a good turnout. But then we went back on Sunday for the North London derby because the owner was like, yeah, you guys are gonna want to be back here for this one. So we went, and it was
double dipping. What is that? The first time you double dipped?
It's crazy.
Yeah, he was super nice. So it was just like, yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back.
I saw it in real time, like when the Chelsea game was happening and he got the request. And he was like, you could see the calculations going on in his head. Can I do this? Can I come back tomorrow? Does it still make sense? And I'm glad you did, because they won, right? Or
yeah. I mean, it was a crazy game, and it was nice to see that both sets of fan bases. It was just like the place was essentially split down the middle. So it was on one side it was the Spurs, and then on the other was the Arsenal fans.
Were there competing chants or?
No. They were not competing chants. But I mean, I think it was nice because I think everybody there just kind of knew each other. So it was like a cool little, like, just you're on one side, you're watching Spurs, and then just decided to go to Arsenal because it seemed like they were doing better, and they did end up doing better.
Seemed like they were doing better. Spurs, like,
he says, yeah, with Spurs sitting like three points above relegation or whatever it is right now.
It's crazy. But I mean, the owner was really nice. He was saying how he was like, yeah, like, I was talking to my daughter. She's in marketing, and she was checking out some of the stuff that you guys are doing, and she was like really excited that you guys were kind of like highlighting the stuff here. So it was like, oh yeah, this is really cool, really nice.
That guy was awesome, by the way. Like I think I forget his name, but like it was the most. I've never been to a pub with Pablo, I think, in the past, but like that was really. I think all the stuff that he did for us there was just like so nice. So.
Yeah, covered our breakfast, our drinks, everything, and it was just.
So you're finally admitting that the rankings are biased.
They're not biased. That does not go into it.
Some journalist you are.
Because it was so we went to that one in the morning on Saturday for the Chelsea game, and then I guess I wanted to go to the tailgate for the Screaming Eagles, because I guess in CLUBELEVEN lore, the week before the world shut down in COVID, we went to a Screaming Eagles tailgate to do an interview with one of the leaders at the time. And then I just remember it was like, it's like burned in my mind because that was like the last thing I did before the pandemic was going to a Screaming Eagles tailgate. So I was like, okay, like I want to make sure I can go back again for this one right before the game. But I was like, yeah, I mean, I guess I have a little bit of time between being in Arlington and then having to go to Audi Field. So I just quickly Googled like, okay, Manchester City supporter groups.
You didn't.
Like, where do they meet? And then it was like, okay, they're on the Green Line. So I can just go up to U Street and then go to their bar. And And it was just one of those things where it's like you just Google them beforehand and you're like, I have no idea what I'm about to find. so then I just kind of, do the whole thing and go up there. And then I just like walk in through the doors and there's like nobody there because I think the game was like over an hour away. So I was just like, got a drink, got a little something to eat really quickly. And then people started like shuffling in and I was like, wait, okay, so it seems like this could be a really cool experience. So I go up and I saw that there was a lady that had just like brought on a huge like box with her, and inside they had scarves, they had stickers, they had the whole thing. So I went up and I just introduced myself and just told her
something for free, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna talk to you.
No, I just wanted to make sure. I was like, is it okay if I film? Like, is it all right?
He's like, I just wanted to make sure it was free.
Yeah. Those are free, right?
And then I was just kind of asking her just I guess how they had come to be essentially. And I think they'd gotten together. They'd been together for over like 10 years, but this was their first year at this specific bar.
Okay.
And then I think the game was at like 2 or 3 p.m. and then it was just absolutely packed by game time. And the really cool thing was that after every goal, the bar would come out and they had like just a huge box of like little jello shots that they would have.
God.
Cool, because it's free, mind you. It's free.
After every city goal, there was just somebody from the bar that would go around and just pass these jello shots to people. And I was like, this is the greatest thing in the world.
Oh my. I have plenty of questions now about you accidentally finding this bar in between where you needed to be.
I was genuinely, like, this is honestly, it was one of my favorite experiences, to be honest. Like, I mean, they were all like super, super nice. Also, they did give me a scarf, so but
so the bias becomes even
He's like,
more
I was
biased.
genuinely hammered. Like,
they did say, they were like, oh yeah, we also we welcome all the City fans in the area, and then anybody else who wants to hate watch, just to make sure that Arsenal doesn't win the league. But it was just a great group of people, and then I rushed over to the Screaming Eagles tailgate because, fun fact, like they do it at a place where they keep live eagles.
I did not know that.
Up on the second part of the building.
That's
it's
awesome.
like it's like a conservation center thing. So they have all these like wild birds and weird things that they have at the top, and then there was somebody who was like standing on the steps, and I was like, please, can I go upstairs? Like, I just want to see the eagles. And he was like, no, like you have to be with like somebody from the group to like bring you up or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. So I just like went outside. And
Don't you know who I am?
I was like, please, let me see the eagles. And I couldn't find James, who was the leader of the supporter groups when we did the interview. I'm not sure he's on the board anymore because they do like the whole like rotation thing. And then I just like quickly hustled to Audi Field, went to the very top to make sure I could see the Capitol building, and that was that. Then it was game time. So
Yeah, I've heard those. I've heard I heard those stands are pretty steep. So
they are very steep,
Yeah.
35 degrees, which is
rumor has it.
Bank of California Stadium in LA is 34. And then I think the only steeper one is
How many jello shots did he have?
stand in Columbus. But the crazy thing about Audi Field is that it's 35 degrees like in 3 out of the 4 stands. So it is, I guess, like in general as a whole stadium, it's like probably one of the steepest that you can visit in the US. So and I think they also changed like the requirements of how steep a stadium can be, because Inter Miami says like they have the maximum like regulation of like steep stands that they have now, and it's 34 degrees. So I guess when Audi Field was built, it was a different thing. So yeah, that's my pitch for Audi Field, even though I think it got voted like one of the worst like stadiums in MLS or something like that. But it'll always hold a special place in my heart, and it has a beautiful view. You can see the Washington Monument to the left, and then the Capitol building like straight across. If you sit on the south stand,
Cut him off.
yeah, that's my tourism pitch for Audi Field. But
I think we may need to fast forward to the part where you guys do like a college tour and someone just gives Pablo tenure to do something, because this guy knows stupid amount of information.
I was gonna say, I mean, I couldn't find a place to fit it into, but it is interesting seeing all the Premier League bars, like, or just like bars in America, like the supporters groups that come in, they all are like nomads in a sense. Like they're all like, oh yeah, we've been here for this amount of time. It's like they just keep bouncing around. Like, I wonder why I know why some of them leave, but like I wonder everyone's story of like how they land on a bar or like how they get kicked out of a bar and stuff like that. Like,
yeah, I was getting lore from one of the I heard from somebody at the bar that I visited this weekend in New Haven. They were talking about a bar, the Joxer Dailies, the Chelsea one that I went to in LA. And when I was talking to the bartender in LA, he had told me like, yeah, this was also like a Liverpool bar, but there was like some beef with like the ownership, and then they left. And then I was like, oh, I guess it's kind of weird. I don't know if I'll ever get to hear what the actual lore is. And then I met a guy in New Haven who was like, I used to live in LA and I used to go to Joxer Dailies. And he was like, yeah, so like what happened was that like the Liverpool supporters got mad because they thought the bar was playing favorites. Because that bar is like Chelsea. It used to be Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool. Now it's only Chelsea and Arsenal. But he was like, yeah, like the Liverpool guys were like, yeah, like, you know, you only cater to the Chelsea supporters and the Arsenal ones. And, you know, we're going to leave and find our own place. Because I think that's one thing that is usually typical. It's like one bar for one supporter group.
Yeah.
So that was like a crazy lore to find out about. But
just exposed something that wasn't supposed to. Yeah. You're going to get threats in the mail now. They're like, that story wasn't... I'm kidding.
That was meant for public consumption.
It was nice to see like there were also like two of the most recent bars that I was lucky to go to were like specific to one team and built for a specific team, like the Queen Vic in DC, which was the one that I went to on Sunday, the morning after the game. I was talking to the owner. He was like, yeah, like my wife, I think he said his wife is from Liverpool. So it was like when he started the bar, it was like, it was going to be a Liverpool bar. So they have like all these like Liverpool decorations all over, and it's a beautiful place to like walk into. And it was funny that I just kind of went in, I was like, hey, so like I'm doing this road trip, and then he like cut me off and he's like, oh, you guys are the ones with the bus, right?
Oh my God.
And it was just like, oh my God, like, you know, I guess people know about the bus now. Like it's...
And they gave you something, right?
It was crazy because like and it was the morning that the USA game was going on, the hockey game. Okay. So it was so funny that it was like Liverpool fans watching the Liverpool game, and then one TV had the hockey game. Liverpool scored the winner at the very end of the game. Everybody's going crazy. 2 minutes later, it's overtime in the hockey game, and then the USA wins, and then it's just like, you know, the Liverpool fans and then the hockey fans that had shown up to watch the game, everybody just chanting USA, USA, USA. It was crazy. And then before we left, like he's like, no, like don't leave. He like just goes into a closet and starts like pulling stuff out, and he's like, oh, like here's like a Liverpool mug, like, you know, you need to be a Liverpool fan now. And then he just gave me Liverpool mugs. So it was
those were the mugs that you were talking about. That makes sense why.
Yeah, that's why I have to make sure they get to Gabe. I feel like he would love them as a...
What did you say to this person when they said you need to be a Liverpool fan? Did you reply, I'm a neutral? Or
no?
What do you tell people now? Because
what do you
your story just, you know, what are you now?
I am famously neutral, so you know I have to be.
You're infamously neutral.
You're infamously neutral.
Infamously neutral. No, it's just, you know, to be unbiased. You know, keep up journalistic integrity. You know, so
that was tough, and because I didn't know. I was like, what story does he want me to tell here? Because when we were at the Chelsea place, like, I mean, an obvious question is like, hey, are you guys Chelsea fans? I was like no, like I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm kind of like looking at Pablo, just waiting. Like, we were at Stamford Bridge, like 2 weeks ago, like celebrating an insane game. But then I heard the neutral.
No, that line, that
cursed
line.
line. I am neutral. I mean, I feel like it's like a cool thing to, like go to all these different places and kind of just like, because
you're not a neutral. More so, you're a fan of wherever you are.
Exactly. Yeah, because you do, like, honestly. Because I get your texts like after you're at all these places, and it's like, oh my God, like that was insane. Like that is that you're in like a very I feel like privileged position of like you can enjoy basically all these games. It's like you are a home fan, right?
Yeah, I mean even yesterday, like because I like to make fun of my little brother because he's an Arsenal fan, and you know they always end up bottling the league. But then for that one yesterday, when I was at the Arsenal bar, I was like, man, like I actually kind of wanted to win. Like it'll be, but that bar was crazy. Like the story behind it is like it used to be a laundromat, And it was just like you go to this place and it's just like residential house, residential house, residential house.
Tell us where.
This is in New Haven, Connecticut.
Okay.
So it's like they have all these like residential houses, and then it's just like this one little, just it looks like a square that's just put there, and it's like the bar was called the Cannon. So it used to be a laundromat, and the story behind it is like this guy used to be a bartender at a pub that used to show games, and he was an Arsenal fan for a really long time. And then right before the pandemic, he signed a lease to buy this place and kind of turn it into an Arsenal pub. And then it was right before the pandemic, so then he had to keep paying the rent throughout the pandemic while he was getting it ready without anybody being able to come in. And then they were telling me how like right before they opened up the pub to show games at the end of 2021 or start of 2022, and the supporters group, the New Haven Gooners, they did like a fundraiser to make sure that they could, give money to support the owner and kind of like get the permits over the line and all of that, so that they could show games early and kind of like open up the whole thing. So it was like really nice to see how like this place is like just intertwined with the supporter group that is there. Because you walk in and it's like a shrine to Arsenal. Like they have a Thierry Henry mural inside the bathroom, just to paint the picture of what this place is. So they just have like huge Arsenal decorations, and they've all kind of been watching games together for a really long time, and they love the bartender, the guy who opened up the bar. His name is Kevin. So they did like a chant for him at the end of the game and all of that. So yeah, crazy, but very nice to see how like, yeah, I mean, some pubs do have to share supporters essentially. But this one in New Haven for Arsenal, and then Queen Vic in DC for Liverpool, it was cool to see ones that are like, you walk in and it's like, this is a bar that was made for Liverpool, or this is a bar that was made for Arsenal. So I really enjoyed both of those, but that's my spiel on the bars. Sorry.
All right, what's next on the docket?
Sorry.
45 minutes in, what's next on the docket?
Yeah, right. Doing in our, I guess I call it our pre-production call earlier, trying to do the math when you're like, oh, I've got 3 videos in the chamber basically. I'm like, I don't think that math works out, but then if you snuck off to one, then I guess the math does.
Yeah, he went rogue. I didn't even like the things that he explained he was going to do over the weekend was like would have taken like 10 minutes to talk about, but then the amount of stuff that you get your little nose into, it's incredible. It's incredible.
I remember
such an adventurous soul.
I don't want to go on another tangent, but that day that he was describing on Saturday when he went to Audi Field and like the 2 bars, like I had to go home to do some work, but I dropped him off at Audi Field, and it was like 1 p.m. Maybe even noon, and we filmed the thing on the snowbank or whatever, like the intro. And I was just like, what are you gonna do for, like, I'm leaving, I have to take the car. Are you gonna be like, do you have something to do? He's like, yeah, don't worry, like I'll be fine. He's like, just leave me, just get out of here. He
I
just
work
goes up to do this.
He had like this all planned out, and he wasn't gonna tell you. He's like, just leave me alone. Like, I got it. Oh man. The real fact finder of America.
Yeah, it's just I feel like it's just so addicting at some point that you're like, man, like I had such a fun time yesterday, like with all the Arsenal supporters and
meeting friends, drinking. I mean, dude.
It's like I was on the bus back to Boston, and I was like, man, like I'm actually kind of sad that like I don't know when is the next time that I'm gonna see like all of them again, because we like spoke for like, I mean, I got there, the pub opened up at 10, and I didn't leave until like 4, because all of us were just kind of like talking and like sharing stories and stuff like that, and you're just like, man, like I don't know, I hope I get to go back to New Haven, but it's just
meanwhile,
like
we're nonstop calling them, going to the Orlando City Inter Miami game, like we need to hear what your idea is for this video, but before we start recording, and he's crying on the bus thinking about the next time we'll make it back to New Haven.
He's like, I hope I get to make it back to New Haven. We're like, I hope we get to talk to this guy again.
Yeah, like hopefully he's alive. And he was meanwhile just scrolling through his camera roll, looking at all the pictures and videos, like, I'm gonna miss these guys. Just hanging up on our phone calls.
Oh man. God. Yeah, but I mean, yesterday everything went fine, right? with Orlando.
I mean, outside of the score, yeah, it was great. It was a great time. We going into that, or?
Because I feel like a great transition to speak about the game yesterday. What you guys were doing.
Yeah, of course. No, yeah, we went not a far drive for us, about 15-minute, 20-minute drive for us. No bus ride across state lines. It was all within the Orlando area. But it was the Florida Derby, and did not go too hot for us. But we got there early because we knew we had a lot to live up to, because Pablo's videos have been popping off. So we were feeling the pressure, hence why we were calling him and everything. But yeah, we made it there, got in. We got to see the fans marching down the street, similar to what we got to experience when we brought the bus there last time. And it was cool because we saw some familiar faces as they were marching down, people that got in the bus when we were there last time. But then also we got into the stands and we were in the supporter section. And, usually it's roped off to the official members of the supporter section, like some sections of it. But then like the wider areas are just for everyone. And while we were walking down, one of the guys recognized us. We're like, "Oh, Club 11, like you guys brought the bus." And we're like, yeah. And they're like, "Oh, come in here." And then so we got to go like right in the middle with all the fans. There was a guy next to us with this giant flag. He had it in like, there was a cup holder. He had like such an amazing system for it.
Insane, yeah.
And then he puts like a plastic cup in it, so it's like it can move around, and then puts the flagpole in the plastic cup. So then he doesn't like necessarily have to hold it up the whole time. He just moves it around in the cup holder in like a figure eight thing. And it's just, I mean, he went the whole entire game and he was proud of it too. He was telling the other supporter section, he was like, "I did it the whole game." I was like, "Dude, that's awesome, dude." We had like a little mini flag not mini, but it's comparative to his, a lot smaller. And we would take turns swooping it in the wind. It was good.
It was awesome.
We have to call up Mr. Flag Czar in Chattanooga and give him some pointers on why he doesn't need to hold that flag the entire game.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I was thinking about him while we were there, of like, we should do like a mic'd up interview of him like, doing the flag the whole game. Would be hilarious.
If we did like a heart rate tracker on that guy, I would be so curious on that for the whole game. How much energy actually goes into doing such a thing?
I think I was, if I remember correctly, he burns like 3,000 calories or something per game, like just waving that flag.
Well, yeah, the kid next to us, he had a bunch of electrolyte drinks, and he would just kept mixing them in and then chugging them.
Yeah, I was wondering, what is that? And then,
yeah,
that was incredible. Like, he's definitely done that. Like, he has his routine down, so it was awesome.
Yeah, we saw the little kid with the purple mohawk too that was on the bus. Like, it was hilarious seeing these people again.
Yeah, in their like natural state.
Yeah,
I think when we saw the Open Cup game, we were sitting like
away from them.
else,
Yeah. So it was good. We were in the mix. It reminded me a lot of getting back in with the Austin fans, because they did the tifo and everything. It's always, I think, cool being in the mix when they have the tifo, because it's such a coordinated effort. And we saw, I forget his name, but the guy that was like the original Ruckus guy, and he's almost like the captain amongst all of them. They're all like, they're holding the ropes, and he's like standing over them like the captain of the ship, just like commanding them on when they're like supposed to pull it up. Like, I was like, dude, this looks amazing. We were just like watching in awe at the tifo coordination.
And I think because of the campaign that Orlando's doing, they have this whole like pirate thing.
Yeah,
so they were playing, it was like Pirates of the Caribbean-esque like music ahead of it. So it was awesome. Like, we were really like immersed into that world.
Yeah. And then, I mean, they went up 2-0, and we were, I mean, the whole entire stand was going crazy. And then halftime happens, like Miami comes out and just some questionable calls.
It was on, like, I kept looking at Justin, telling him, like, whenever Messi had the ball, like, you actually felt fear, because we were on that side of the field, unfortunately, for all four. We saw all six goals were on our side. And I think the goal when he tied, when it was 2-2, like, they passed the ball. They were just kind of passing the ball around on top of the 18 for like a good 30 seconds. And then this guy takes, like one touch, shoots it in between like three players. We didn't even see like where. And you just see like a missile go into the upper 90. And it's like, it was devastating.
It was, yeah.
It was devastating.
It's one of the few games, right? Like, if the only game where I'm like genuinely like it hurts to go to sleep after, because I'm like, what the heck? How does this always happen to us? Like, me as an Orlando City fan, like no other game, like, and maybe like when the U.S. gets knocked out of the World Cup, like I'm actually sad, but like those games, I'm just like sad / embarrassed. I'm like, how does this keep happening?
I feel bad for you, dude.
Yeah. And then like the last goal, I watched the replay this morning, questionable wall placement, but
I mean we were talking about the foul before that too, and like the whole thing. I mean,
we don't get it. We don't have to break down. We're very not jaded, but our opinions are very
it hasn't been 24 hours since the game, so it's still very much like it's an open wound.
What was the atmosphere like? Because I think obviously this was like a derby, so a little bit different. But I feel like
the best part was once Inter Miami started coming back, like you started hearing the pockets of the Inter Miami fans, or more like just like the Messi fans start to like rise up, and you started hearing Messi, and it was just ringing in my head. And I was like, oh my God, shut up. And then so Orlando would go back with F Miami, like, and then like try to drown out the sound. So it was like a good back and forth. But then at the end of the game, Messi scored the free kick, and there's like a group of people right behind us that had been pretty quiet the whole game. And then they're just like, Messi, like, goal, like in the
imposters.
Yeah. Like, we're basically faking Orlando fans the whole game until the very end. And then they finally like were like cheering everything for the goal. And then they had the security come and like kick them out because they were like in the supporters section cheering, which I was like, this is a great moment.
I'm glad he gets how do you say it, like not imposed, but like, because you get the email saying you can't wear anything other than
it's enforced. Yeah.
And so I'm glad it gets enforced, because I mean that was just, for fans that have been there, for the fans that were around them that I'm assuming have been there for years, like it sucks if your team like not only starts losing, but in that manner, and then you have to hear like a fan from the opposing team screaming in your ear. It's like it was rough. Yeah.
All in all, great game.
I think a very interesting. I guess I would have been really upset knowing potentially that if I was an Orlando City fan, I like awoke evil Messi for the season.
Like he just has this switch that he flips where he just turns into the most despicable human ever. It's like, oh gosh, man, why does he have to do this?
Did you see when he did the autograph sign?
Like we didn't even know, because from the stands, like we already were pretty pissed, just like because of everything that was happening. But then Peter texted me mid-game. I sent him a text. I was like, I can't believe this, this thing. Like, it's just like ridiculous, right? And he's like, oh yeah, like he asked the coach for like an autograph, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like I didn't see that, and then I go home, I see the replays, and it's just insane. Like that's evil Messi. I think
evil Messi. Yeah, if he decides to be evil Messi this year, then I don't know. I was hoping that the evil empires defeated this MLS season, but because I saw the clip on the train last night, and I saw the goal, and then I of course saw the caption before I watched the video. I'm like, there's no way this guy like actually gestured something to like a coach. The ESPN FC is just saying things to say things, and then when he did it like multiple times. It's like, oh my God, dude, no, he can't be on smoke in week 2 of this. Please, no, please.
Yeah, LAFC awoken something. So.
Seriously. Well, we talked about your bars for an hour, so you're fine.
Yeah, I know. I can shut up.
We're closing in on 58 minutes.
I was gonna say closing on 58 minutes. What else happened? Do you want to talk about what you were doing the weekend before it all, Justin, or no?
It wasn't too much, but yeah, we were out. I was with friend of the program, Nick Polo. We were in Miami just shooting some stuff with FC Bayern, kind of an extension on what he did last year with his American Exploration project, but now with some video elements to it. We went to a Bundesliga bar, / Premier League bar, called the Cuckoo's Nest. They're newly Bayern supporters group, but the guy's from Bavaria, and thick accent, has a lot of history back there. And so he came here and became a lawyer and then started this bar called the Cuckoo's Nest. And it has all this like Bavarian decor. Like there's a painting of the Bavarian prince or something, Bavarian king maybe, and like a ski lift in there, like all this Bavarian stuff. But then they just recently, in the last very recently, maybe 6 months, 4 months, a Bayern fan group in Miami started going there. But they've been a Man City bar for a long time. And so it was the same kind of thing with what Pablo was talking about. He's like, priority is Man City because like they've been here first. Even though this guy is like huge, like from Bavaria, he's like, these Man City's been here and they've treated me right, but like we'll take in other fans. But whenever like they have conflicting games, he's like, it's Man City first and then Bayern, which is interesting. But it was in Little Haiti, right outside of downtown Miami. So it was cool to see like all the Little Haiti. I don't know what the correct word is for it, but like when you're immersed in Little Haiti, it looks very much one way, and then you just randomly see on this corner like a very German themed bar just in the mix of it all. But it was cool. We got to do that, play pickup. It was like so hot, and in Miami it was like almost like in the 90s already, and it was terrible, but great weekend all around for me.
What about bus renovations?
Bus renovations, yeah, they're up and running. I got to go after this to go start on that. We've got some great ideas ready to go, but I mean, we're dreaming right now. We got time to make this thing
to make
some magic. Because I mean, last year it was like we talked about it before, but really a week, 2 weeks to really get it together. We got a month and maybe some change to really sink our teeth into it and see what we can come up with. But things are off and running. Walls are being taken down. Things are being painted. Ideas are being thrown around. We were thinking TV in the bus. We're thinking
players are getting X'd out of a certain ceiling.
Yeah, after last night, we're like, do we need this Messi mural on the roof? Like, is that really that important? It was, yeah. We'll give it more than 24 hours and then we'll make a real decision on that. But, there's always, we want to keep things fresh for the viewers, the people coming on. So we'll see if he survives the renovations.
Jeez Louise.
I would like to see, maybe we do a simpler fix and we just like replace the Messi side with Pablo pointing at Pele and them touching it, because that's the true.
I think that makes more sense.
Yeah, that's the true bridge of American soccer is Pele to Pablo.
Look at Iski, he's like, I'm not going to say no.
Yeah, he doesn't even disagree with that. He's like, that's actually true.
No, because we're not.
Moves right along. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. The true connector. He's speechless. He's like, no rebuttal to that at all.
I just don't know what to say.
So greedy.
He doesn't know what to say. Well, I guess then to bring us to a close here, I got to shoot which you then got to see in person, which was a fun little full circle for at least the entity of us. I got to shoot the Legacy's new kit, the Boston Legacy's new kit last week, which was a bit of a runaround because we got our second like 20 plus inch snowstorm of the season. But I think, I think it was fun because I didn't know what we were going to do until like the day before. They asked if I was around. But then they were like, oh, the plan is to go basically just shoot people around Boston in the kit, because the idea of the kit is it's covered in the neighborhood cutouts of Boston. And so we're just going to, like, we have a list of folks we want to grab. It's like, oh, that feels very Club 11. Like, that sounds awesome. As opposed to just like, oh, we'll shoot some players and that'll kind of be that. Because the team was in Stillway for preseason too. So it was like, what the heck are we going to do? But it was fun we got to, like, it dumped 20 inches of snow on Monday. And then Tuesday we were stomping around the city, shooting people from Dorchester to downtown to Roxbury. I think the coolest part of it all was I walked like, I don't know, half a mile the day before to a local film lab in Somerville where Pablo and I live, called Lumentation. And I was just like, hey, can you turn around film in a day, essentially? Like, how much are you going to charge me for that? And they were like, how about the hard price of $10 extra per roll? And I said, yeah, sure, sold. Let's do it. They were just like, if you come as soon as we open on Wednesday, or even if you make it Tuesday, but like if you come as soon as we open on Wednesday, drop off the film, and we should get it to you before we close at 7 p.m. I was like, all right, like I'll bring my my 2 film cameras, and we'll at least try and get something that would be add some texture to the project. And sure enough, I dropped off. I walked, and again, while it was still snowing, walked back to the film lab, dropped off the film at like 11:15, and then by 5:15, I had 2 zips of developed film into my email, which was kind of crazy.
That's ridiculous. How did you like? You're not always doing photography, but you've been doing a lot with the legacy. How do you like, dipping your toes back into that?
I get more like nervous than I do like doing other stuff, because I'm like, wait, like I've not touched these sorts of things in a while. Even like the film stuff. Like I don't think I've like one of the film cameras I used has like historically, at least amongst Marisol and I and my other friends, like it's been jammed for a while and it's not worked. And I have a medium format camera too. Like, I'll at least use some of that, but I'll bring the 35 millimeter just in case it decides to work. And I tested it the day before and it worked. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, like sick. So I'm like re-downloading my, cause I don't have a light meter. I'm re-downloading my app that it, like tells me the exposure and everything. But like the night before was running through like on YouTube, like just education on making sure, like, all right, like how I know how to use the cameras at least and how to expose properly. But it's definitely, yeah, it's been fun. And even like, I think, I doing video for so long, I honestly believe like it's harder to, like capture the right thing in a photo. Like you only have one frame, right? Digital or otherwise, like you've got one frame, you're trying to communicate whatever you're trying to communicate in. So like I always feel more whether it's nervous or like adrenaline trying to do any kind of photography, because it's like, no, like you want the one thing to be correct. And like all this with the legacy was so the timeline was so expedited. It was like, again, we talked on Thursday or Friday, we shot Tuesday, edit and develop on Wednesday to go live on Thursday. And it was like people too that like they're not players, like they're not necessarily used to being in front of camera. So it was like, I think at most on Tuesday we had like 45 minutes with a subject.
Jeez.
And so it was like, and all I had, like, because it was snowed all day, I couldn't drive my car around, so I couldn't bring any like lights really. So I had my flash, and that was it. And I didn't know where we were going to be again until like the night before, these locations with subjects that again aren't used to like being on camera. So it was like that too. Like I don't think I'm always very good at like posing people. I feel like that's like just not something that I've done or like been taught how to do or learned how to do. So I feel like that's always like something I'm worried about. Like how do I make, like I can through like interviews and stuff know how to make people comfortable, but like posing, it's like I don't really know. Yeah. So that was definitely like going into it. I was worried about that a little bit. Again, just not knowing, again, location, not knowing like how comfortable everybody would be. But like to their credit, everybody was super kind and super like, do whatever the heck you want to do. Like we're down for it, which was really nice. But yeah, it's certainly an expedited process.
How many neighborhoods did you do total?
I mean, we did 5. I think that like we'll see what they want to do, like, because there's 23 different neighborhoods in Boston proper. We did 5 on Tuesday, and like it was like, I don't know, call time was like 10:30, 10:45 or so, and I wasn't home till like 8, I think. But it was like, welcome to the geography corner. If you know the area, it was like Alston, Brighton, to like Mattapan, like Dorchester almost, to then Roxbury, to then downtown, to then the South End, which like again, like in context, it snowed 20 inches the like day before. So it was a jam-packed full day. But like again, when I like off the top said it felt adjacent to a Club 11 project. Like all the subjects were so awesome. Of like one of the guys, his name's Mohammed. He's from Belgium, I think, originally. He runs a like organization focused on getting kids in the area like exposed to and interested in journalism. Like that's he's like the director or one of the directors. He also coaches for a thing called Boston Scores, like the nonprofit Boston Scores, and he also runs or he writes his own Substack where he focuses on African players in the NWSL. Wow. It's like, dude, you're like the coolest person I've ever met. So it's people like that where everybody had their own. Or what Chantel, who we did photographs with at this pizza place that she's been going to since she was a kid. Chantel, I think used to work for Boston Public Schools, and now she runs a nonprofit for young girls to like be exposed to athletics basically for free. But she was like, yeah, I've lived my whole entire life in like a 2-mile radius, I think, basically. So it was like cool to get to meet people like that who some were more soccer adjacent than others, and the ones who weren't were so jazzed of like, oh wait, like this thing coming here is awesome. Like no disrespect to any other Boston entity organization, but it's like this feels like, oh yeah, I get to be a part of this from day one, which feels really interesting and really awesome. So I think regardless of like how things turned out, like it was cool just to get to meet those people. Like the whole meeting them felt worth it. And there was even like for lunch we got takeout from this I think it's a Haitian place, but we were in Dorchester and we had to like literally eat outside on top of a snowbank because there was just nowhere else to go. But I think it all came out pretty well. And then I couldn't go, but you got to go on Thursday.
Yeah, I got to see all your photos.
When you sent the first photo, I was like, wait, that's so cool. They're out in public. But yeah, what was because they did it, the jersey launch event was I think it's called Cyclorama in Southend.
Yeah, I had no idea like what a cyclorama or what that was supposed to look like or what it was, but it was like, I showed up and it was like it had like an oldish like facade on the outside, and so then I just kind of because you had to RSVP, and then just showed it, went in, they gave me a little wristband, Boston Legacy, all of that, and then you walk in and it's like there's like this huge like glass ceiling, there's like a DJ in the middle, like neon lights all over in green. So, and I think the event started at 6. I got there at like 7. But there were
fashionably late. Yes.
Unfortunately, but there were. I think some of the founders were speaking when I got there. They were kind of giving a little bit of a speech and kind of talking about the jersey and all of that. And then they had all these different stations. Like they had one that was like a blind tattoo station. You just put your arm and then like they tattoo you or something. They had like press on nails, stuff like that. They had popcorn in different colors. So I was like, oh, my favorite snack. Just for me. They had like lollipops and stuff like that in like a little thing. And then obviously selling the jersey. And then the crazy thing was Sam Mewis was there. And it was she was just standing there, and then I just saw like a huge line, and I was like, wait, I guess people, what's going on here? Because it was like wrapping around the entire place, and they were all just lining up to see Sam Mewis and get their photo taken. And then it was like cool to just kind of be like observing that, and it was like it wasn't like a thing of like, oh, somebody comes up, they take their photo, and that's that. It was like they would come up, say hello, and they would chat for like 5 minutes and like have a really nice conversation. And then she did that the entire night, like the entire night until the thing was closing and people were taking stuff down. She was there just like meeting people, saying hello, like having conversations. So that was really cool to see that it's like, okay, there's seeing like a legend, right, of the game kind of taking the time to meet the community and get people excited about those things. I think that's always like such a huge positive. So it was like nice to see that kind of in person. And then, it was a great event. And then afterwards, I think I saw some people were walking over to a bar called Deluxe, I think.
Oh, we love Deluxe.
It was great. It was awesome.
Went?
Yeah, I went. So it was nice to see that it was like you walked in and there was like people wearing like the Boston Legacy scarf. Yeah. And everybody just kind of like there, I guess, for a drink after the event and getting a little burger. So that was nice. There was somebody from the Legacy. I forget his name, unfortunately, but he gave me a scarf. He's like, yeah, like, love the stuff with Club 11, all of that. So it was nice that I think we have the scarf says like all in since day one or something like that. So it's like, okay, like nice. We have like another like day one thing to put on the bus and kind of showcase. So so that was a really cool thing. I love the event, honestly. And yeah, I mean, I was just sad that you weren't able to see it, but I mean, it's crazy to hear the background on everything that went to get the photography done, because it was like you would walk in and the first thing you see is like
the pictures,
that little the little wall of like pictures of the jersey, and they would just rotate and show the different shots that you guys got around the neighborhoods.
In general, because I think something I could be wrong. I didn't look at all of the like NWSL launch day stuff, but I think if they weren't the only one of the only ones where like because I think even Denver, their imagery of the kits was still with their players. Like I think the Legacy might have been the only club to do like their own, because the league did their own stuff. The only club to do like people in the community like as the face of the kit, which is pretty cool. Is knowing like to close us off here. All the different stuff that we've been able to help them with, like the last couple of months. It's like you just forget almost how much they have to do from nothing as a brand new club. Even like I helped them out with so many player announcements, and like doing that in the process of doing it, it wasn't like, oh, this is so many players, but it's like in context, maybe the Washington Spirit or, North Carolina Courage put out like the 3 new players they signed, whereas the Legacy are putting out the 27 new players they signed. So it's just like being able to talk to them and know what I know about all the stuff that's gone into the lead up of day one for them. I think they're at over 20,000 tickets sold now for their first game. Like it's just incredible they're able to pull off stuff like the event on Thursday. Because I mean the stories of building a club from zero are absolutely insane. But with that, I think that was our last like 10 days at least, right?
Yeah, I think we're all caught up. I think we all did things that made us a little nervous. We met some new faces. It's been par for the course for the Club 11 boys. And another day in American soccer.
And only one of us lied about how many bars we went to over the weekend.
Sorry.
But yes, as we look ahead into the next couple of weeks, things are only going to start ramping up with a great intensity. The bus is being worked on, hopefully to be roaming the streets of the US of A in a couple of months. We will be in Vermont. We'll be in Burlington for, I think, what should be the game of the decade potentially in American soccer, as Vermont Green hosts Portland Hearts of Pine for the opening day of this year's US Open Cup, followed by maybe a trip to LA perhaps for a couple days, maybe in Denver for their kickoff, and then maybe in Boise for their kickoff.
It's shaping up to perhaps be a crazy month.
Perhaps be a very crazy month.
Look at them playing coy. And there's only going to be one way that you're going to find out if this will happen or not, and it's by tuning in to the Club 11 podcast. Cut.
Guard.
I mean, we can keep going. If I didn't want to step on Gabe's been having to pee for the past 20 minutes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Set down your mic and let Tyler wrap us up.
We'll be doing live stuff like this throughout the year, I hope. And I think the next time we have a special Europe edition coming out soon, followed by, I think, probably the Legacy home opener will be the next live thing like we talk about. Like 2 weeks time.
It's crazy.
Otherwise, thank you for listening. You can support us across platforms at Club 11. Support us financially and with more of your words and input on Patreon at Patreon/Club 11. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Bye.